When was the last time you gave somebody that permission?
Oh, very, very, very often.
And what do you see? What happens? There's something that typically happens that you see when that light goes on?
Yeah, there's a sense of absolute freedom when that happens, because the person genuinely suspected it all along, but all they kept hearing was the complete opposite, which is that they're crazy and they don't know what they're doing, and they're and they knew it. They knew something was massively off. It's a DNA thing.
And at that point, do you just start to see a change in behavior when you're working with them, or what happens after you start to see that permission take hold?
I don't really know. I don't.
Do the conversations that you guys have change?
Yeah, the questions change. Yes.
Because the stakes get higher, or what?
No, because the now all the stops can be pulled out, because they were kind of put on layaway for so many years.
Yeah, well, this is a fascinating conversation because all of us, with the exception of the 2.5 and yourself, have doubts, right? Have doubts about our capabilities, have doubts about our ability, and doubt sets in.
Sure. Yes.
Right? And we want to give ourselves that permission, right? We want to be able to have someone else give us that permission. But for whatever damn reason, we don't. Is it?
Well, what are you going to give yourself permission to do?
Permission to start to move towards that level of freedom that we're talking about.
Well, the permission that I'm talking about isn't the permission that I'm talking about is the validation and the confirmation that the suspicions that everything when everybody was wrong were true. Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about. That's the permission I'm talking about. So if someone doesn't already have that, then there's no permission needed. Then it's a prescription that you should move towards freedom or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So that has to be, so something already has to be there that needs permission so that it can leave the earth.
It's permission to say, hey, get away. It's almost that immunity from what other people think of me or what my industry thinks of me that leads me to ultimately become, unreasonably successful within that context.
Right. That's a huge thing. Yeah. Not caring what others think of you is a massive milestone.
Yeah. That's a real difficult thing.
And you can't prescribe your way there.
Yeah. What did it take? When did you know you were there? Because I know you are.
I think it comes down to what are the consequences of not being there, and then seeing if those consequences are acceptable to you or not, without any sense of should or shouldn't. And so for me, it's not okay. Like for me, it's simply not okay that what everyone thinks of me, is something that I need to juggle and change and manage and modify.
Are you at a point in life where you're totally immune to the outside noise?
I haven't examined that question. I think it's a wonderful question. I haven't really asked that question if I am or am I not. But I will say that for me to give you an honest answer, I have to truly examine. But it's a fairly good way there,
Yeah, you're definitely there. Okay, my last question to you has to do with the scope of entrepreneurship that's going on in the world. It seems like, at least in the Valley and in other places in tech, that in order to create something really breakthrough, you have to do what no one else is doing. And, people approach that by coming up with moonshots and so forth. If you were working with a group of entrepreneurs who wanted to start businesses with the thought process like that, how would you help them think?
I would have them approach the matter from the standpoint of what will give them ultimate satisfaction, as opposed to what will give them pleasure.
And what does ultimate satisfaction look like? Is that personal for each of us, and or collectively as company builders?
Absolutely. It's for each person, each individual person, what satisfaction looks like for them. I think it really comes down to getting away from chases, and with with clarity and wisdom and calmness and serenity, to examine why one is in the business that they're in, what business they actually are in, that they didn't know that they were in, and to move away from anything that is done in a reactive fashion that will only lead to a chase. Such as being better than another person, right? So none of these things have to do with being are wrong or right. It's not wrong to want to be better than anything. Nothing is wrong. There are no rules. There's no morality. There's nothing. Okay? There's just nothing. So what is truth is, when I arrive at this place, which place do I have to arrive that will no longer cause me to chase? And that isn't wrong either. It is just that if you no longer have to chase, then you don't spin your wheels. Then you're not constantly thirsty and hungry.
Which also means you don't really give a damn about your competition, right? That I know in your eyes they don't exist.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if you compete, then you haven't really found anything that's worthy, because you haven't arrived at something that is truly otherworldly. You're just one more of the same, perhaps a little bit better or a little bit cheaper. So and that once again, it's personal, Mo. Like so to me, that's boring, right? To play the did I lose by an inch or win by an inch game, to me that's boring. Now no one needs to take my view. That's for me, right? So I would never tell someone else, why would you do that? That's boring, because it may not be for them. It may not be boring for them. Mm. I still think it's leaving a massive amount on the table. That's true, but one must approach things according to the way that he feels and what moves him and what inspires him.
Does that go the same thing for athletes or golfers?
Sure, absolutely. Yeah, athletes don't really. The athletes are just like the executives and the CEOs. They're all the same. They're all the same. No one really asks where it is that they want to go.
They want to win tournaments and championships.
Well, that's
right, don't we?
No, that's too vague. That's too vague. You have to find out what the ultimate destination is, and it may be that winning tournaments is a part of the avenue which takes you to that destination. But just winning a tournament or not, that's boring. That means that you're rolling the dice every single week. What's the ultimate vision? To
be the best in the world? Is that what we're talking about?
Sure. It would be the best in the world. That's more tangible, right? That it's something, the destination has to be clearly spelled out. I was talking to a tour caddy, at a pretty big PGA Tour event, and I said, it was a rain delay, and we were sitting there talking, and I said, listen, because he was having trouble with his player, and I said, listen, you need to go ask him, who do you want to be? And he looked at me and he said, Doc, listen, if I asked that question to my player, he'd fire me. Yeah. Okay? And he said, if you ask anyone in this room, any of the tour players in this room, that question, first of all, they wouldn't know how to answer it. They've never asked that question. No one's ever told them to ask that question. And they probably fire you for asking it. right? I can't ask my guy that question. You see? So no one, the number of people who are truly exceptional, even on the PGA Tour or the NBA or in Silicon Valley or, wherever you want, is minute, Mo, minute. It's a fraction of a fraction of a fraction.